The other day I talked about Mark Ruffalo being interviewed about playing the Hulk. He said he didn't know if he'd be able to do it in the future because of the way things are going, and he didn't know if he'd be around. He didn't know if there would be a world that would exist to allow him to do this. And I'm kind of like, is dude saying the apocalypse is happening or that he's going to die or something like that? Now pick your poison. Maybe it's climate change. Maybe Mark Ruffalo is saying like the world will melt down. Maybe he's saying World War III, Ukraine and Russia. Maybe he's saying civil war. He did say a world that allows it. So maybe he's talking about something, I don't know, a bit crazier. But I'm going to tone things down to the street level, right? You see, we're talking about the MCU. And in the MCU, they have the galactic planetary levels and they have the street level. And they say Spider-Man's a street level hero. What we have here, She-Hulk, get woke, go broke. One of the worst shows ever put out. The collapse of society is exemplified not in the speech of a president, but in the absurdity and psychosis that surrounds any and everything. Now, there's a lot to talk about pertaining to Joe Biden and the rhetoric that he had last night. But I'm gonna save that for my 4 p.m. segment. And with this one, I want to talk to you about She-Hulk. Why it's completely, just absolutely awful. But also, this is a microcosm of the macrocosm. What we're seeing now with the review bombing, they're calling it, of She-Hulk, is that there are people who can just never accept they're wrong. And I don't care if you're on the left or the right. I really, really don't. I certainly think, you guys know my opinion on politics. I think the establishment's full of crap. And that includes Republicans and Democrats. I think they're lying all the time. But what I mean to say is we're at a point where even if you are right, you're not going to convince the other side. So I'll tell you this. She-Hulk is a garbage show. I really liked the first episode. I thought the second episode was okay, and the third episode was just so awful. And what they're saying now is that the people who are review bombing it are doing it in bad faith or whatever stupid nonsense. And that is the cult unable to maintain itself. Yes, Bounding into Comics has the story. She-Hulk cast and crew ecstatic over twerking cameo from Megan Thee Stallion. She really fit into the whole ethos of what we're doing with the show. Okay, to the cast and crew of Marvel's She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. The cameo from Megan Thee Stallion fit into the show, blah, blah, blah. The WAP artist made her Marvel Cinematic Universe debut in the series' third episode, The People vs. Emil Blonsky, whose B-plot sees Jennifer Walters' former co-worker Dennis Bukowski hire the Superhuman Law Division of GLK&H for representation in suing his ex-girlfriend, a new Asgardian light elf named Runa, for having used her shape-shifting abilities to deceive him into thinking he was dating the real Megan. All right, let's start with just why this is really, really awful. Could it be the awful twerking cameo? Not funny, just weird. They don't know what they're doing. So here's what happens. Wong is in this. You guys know Wong from all of these other movies. They made him a joke. They made him kind of insane. And the jokes don't work. The show is, the MCU itself is falling apart. And it feels like society is falling, it's weird. In the beginning, we got Iron Man. It was a movie. What was that, 2008? Just a movie. And over time, the MCU has been plagued by just cringe level inability to do work. I don't think it necessarily has a lot to do with the creative aspect so much. It has to do with the meritocratic aspect of a generation of millennials who just suck at what they do. I mean, that's just it. This was bad. Everything was a weird joke. You're wondering how stupid everybody is in the whole episode. And so I would say this. I come out when the show the show launches and I'm like, I think it's funny. It's all right. After watching that episode, I was just like, dude, that was some of the worst trash I've ever seen. The CGI was insanely bad. I'm talking Shrek level worse. I'm not exaggerating. And I actually liked the first episode. I thought it was funny. You have that scene with the Hulk smirking at her as she talks about guys catcalling her or whatever. And it was funny and everybody talked about it. But, they smash the bar and they joke about it. This is where we are in the culture. It doesn't matter whether it's good or bad. You can actually call out something that's bad and you will be told it's specifically because of your politics. But I got to say, I think this is more indicative of the culture war left than the right. For example, I liked the first 2 episodes. The first episode better than the second. The third episode was trash. I'd give it a bad rating. They argue at thehindu.com, review bombing of shows and movies like She-Hulk and Turning Red is ruining the credibility of online ratings. I mean, we have this as well from Bustle. How did Miss Marvel end up with such a low audience score? Review bombing explained. No, your shows are garbage. I love it. Guys, I've been talking about the importance of culture. And I got to be honest, after seeing the speech from Joe Biden yesterday, I'm not sure this is everything we're doing is the right investment anymore. We've been trying to build culture. We've been doing Cast Castle. We've been Tales from the Inverted World. Now we're doing music. We've got Pop Culture Crisis. And you know what? I really thought if we start building up a culture that is apolitical and, you know, our sphere of influence would have just straight AP style reporting and facts. That's what timcast.com is. Even our detractors call it that. That maybe we can create a space to get away from all of the insanity. And then Joe Biden did his speech, and I thought, with everything we have, we should be investing in, I don't know, like a bunker somewhere. I'm not even joking. We are beyond the point where people flee countries. Now, I'm in this headspace where me and everybody else, every single news story is about one thing. And I'm like, no, we're going to save the overt political stuff. But this is what I see. We put out a song. And as you guys know by now, because we did the massive, week, they attack it no matter what it is. But our ratings are really good. Our thumbs up are like 95%. Most people who have engaged with the song have either said, well made, not for me, or I really like it. And then you get the left just screaming and trying to pound on the table and they hate you. Then they put out garbage content like Miss Marvel and She-Hulk. Genuinely bad content. And they demand you like it. Why? It's a cult. Let me show you some reviews. We'll start with Miss Marvel, and then I'll talk about how bad that is. Miss Marvel, it's split. 3.4 out of 5 stars. You can see 5 stars is, about 50%. 1 star is about 40%, and then you've got 2, 3, and 4 somewhere in the middle. She-Hulk, you can see it's inverted. It's about 55, 60% 1-star reviews. About 30% 5-star reviews, and then 2, 3, 4 make up the rest. She-Hulk, legitimately bad. Like, I'm at the point where I'm like, this is just gotten so bad. Rotten Tomatoes, 88%. Isn't it funny how this works? You can see the divide, and the divide is clear, and this is the point I want to get to. With these shows, they're doing a bad job. But the establishment and the institutions operate based off of lying to you. They always have. It's worse now because these people have no talent for what they do. What do we get with Miss Marvel? Have you guys watched it? In Miss Marvel, she finds a, what is it called? A dongle? A bangle? Is that what it is? A bangle? It's like a wristband that grants her powers. It activates her Jinn spirit and allows her to control hard light, they call it. Well, the original Miss Marvel, I guess, well, I don't know about the original, but in the comics, she's just stretchy. So I played the Avengers video game and she can embiggen, she just expands or whatever. In this, they make it that she can like manipulate light or whatever. I'm like, okay, that's cool. But the whole show was just teeny bopper exposition and I was bored with it. Hey, that's just me. I'm a 36-year-old man. I don't need to see the high school adventures of a 16-year-old. And I'm not ragging on the show for that reason. I'm saying, more power to the people who like actually, that relates to them. Not for me. I'm not going to watch it. The problem I had, however, what made the show bad, because just because I don't like it doesn't mean it's bad. But what made it actually bad was that it was basically a season of one episode of Magic School Bus as she travels back in time to partition India and Pakistan. I had someone comment and they were like, partition? What is that, Tim? Do you mean apartheid? And I'm like, partition, dude, India and Pakistan. That's what the show was about. And I got to be honest, I only really know about it because I wouldn't shut up about it. This is what it is. They make content so they can spike you with their cultural war crap. Yeah, I don't want to do that. I wrote a song. Call it generic, call it whatever you want. It's about making culture. But, yeah, I got to say at this point, I don't know if any of this matters, to be completely honest. After hearing Joe Biden's speech the other night, I do think they're losing and they're panicking. But panicky people who are losing don't just disappear. They go nuts. And they do wield the power of law enforcement right now. And I don't think they'll go quietly into that good night. And so I thought to myself, maybe we should be investing in, bunkers or property in other countries. And you think I'm kidding. I am not kidding. I went on Joe Rogan's show a while ago, and I mentioned getting a van to bug out in. And I'm like, y'all don't realize where this is heading. I do. I did. And it's funny because people are acting like now, we're not going there. This is the point I want to get to. Now, let me try and keep it on topic with, She-Hulk and that. And the cultural issues instead of the political issues. How did Miss Marvel end up with such a low audience score? Here's what they say. Blah, 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 blah. Forbes and Axios have recently reported on claims of review bombing. They say an IMDb investigation shows the second highest amount of votes, 20% of the time, were given the one rating score. Blah, blah. Critics and fans alike have claimed the hostility is a small but vocal minority in the racist and sexist corner of the fandom. Not only is this racist white replacement nonsense, it's hypocritical given all the harassment Larson got. It's perpetual racism and sexism. The show's bad, but these people are in a cult. And so for them, the message is more important than the content. It is like a religion. Their goal is to proselytize, to preach the good word that is critical race theory, intersectionality, or critical gender theory, or whatever. If it preaches the good word, it's a good show. If it isn't funny or entertaining, it doesn't matter. But for those of us that live in the real world, we like jokes and we like entertainment. And if it isn't entertaining and it's overly preachy, we are not entertained. We are bored by it. This is the divide. And the reason why I want to talk about this is, for one, I really just want to say, I really wanted the opportunity to talk about how bad She-Hulk is. The third episode particularly, just really, really bad. They make everybody really stupid. The character, it's insane. The jokes all fall flat. They ruined the character of Emil Blonsky. Like, come on, man. They had such a tremendous opportunity and they danced with it. So in the show, Emil Blonsky was a character from the first Hulk movie back in, 2007 or whatever with Edward Norton. And he's given the super soldier serum, which turns him into the Abomination so that he can fight Hulk. I think that's what it was. I don't know, whatever. It's been a long time, 14 years. But anyway, in this, he wants parole. And his lawyer's asking him, like, why would you get it? And he says, I thought I was the good guy. I was trying to stop the Hulk. He was the bad guy. And they gave me this serum and it made me go nuts. I wasn't expecting to be a criminal or a madman. He was a soldier. He was like, I was a soldier. And I was like, that's a really, really good angle. Roll with that. Instead, they went with he's a hippie weirdo writing haikus and he's a polygamist or something, whatever. And it's just like, because it doesn't matter. Making good content doesn't matter to these people anymore. The CGI was so bad, it was worse than Shrek. And I'm not trying to be cute. It actually was worse than Shrek. The thing about Shrek is the CGI was meant to be hokey and cartoony. But I'm talking about the way the bodies move, like jostling around, like, and the mouth moves like, my mind was blown when she's like, I am a lawyer and I have to try and get this guy off. And I'm like, just put her in green paint. It'll look better. But the show is objectively bad. And they're claiming that the only reason people are hating on it is because they're racist and sexist. The lies, man. I live in the real world. You can make a bad thing. But the institution, the establishments have to just keep maintaining this facade. Because I'll show you this. Here's Loki. 4.8. Everybody loved Loki. I did too. I thought it had some problems, but it was okay. I was a bit unenthused by the ending. Then we have Hawkeye. A little bit more one-star reviews, but a 4.4. I liked Hawkeye. Again, it had its problems, but it was okay. They introduced this, I don't know the Kate Bishop. There you go. Kate Bishop. She's an archer. She wants to be like Hawkeye. And you had a female hero, and she's, learning with Hawkeye, and I liked it. I thought it was good. Here's what people need to understand to drive this point home. You have the introduction of a female main character being mentored by the male Avenger. What do they do with She-Hulk? A female character taking after the male Avenger. and everyone hates it because they made a garbage show. People don't like it. It's not review bombing. Here's what I think. I think a generation inherited the wealth of their parents. They don't know how to maintain it, and now it's falling apart. Instead of accepting that they're bad at what they do, they use money and influence and institutions to tell everyone they're actually just good and racists are the reason people don't like it. Dude, I liked the first episode. I did. I liked it a lot. I wouldn't give it an 8 out of 10, maybe a 6.5, but that's a lot. Not a great deal, I guess. And this is where culture is, I suppose. Twerking, canned humor, feminism, it's just bashing you in the face. She got the Ruth Bader Ginsburg bobblehead or whatever, and I'm like, fine, whatever. She's a lawyer. She can like what she wants. But this has been going on for some time. And I think where we're at now is we're just reaching the climax. This is it. The MCU is falling apart. It was a great cultural endeavor, but it was a reboot. The MCU was just taking old ideas and then rehashing them. And I liked it. You know, it's falling apart now. But where's the original content? So this is what we did with Timcast. We wanted to make culture to just be like, we'll push back on it. We're not coming out of the gate trying to make Hollywood level stuff. Cast Castle has its bumps or whatever, but, you know, we just do our thing. Some people were like, Tim, you made a bad song. And I'm like, whatever. Not everybody likes everything. I just made a song. I put it out. The fact that I have followers means that I should expect national level scrutiny on a song that I wrote. It's kind of stupid, but sure. People don't like me, so they'll find a reason to hate whatever it is I do. We just want to make content. We want to learn and grow. And following the launch of these shows, we've been reached out to by more prominent individuals in these industries to help make them better. And that's a good thing. But here's where I'm at now. Looking at the collapse of culture and these insane lies about, you know, review bombing or whatever, and it's just bad content. And then looking at the political aspects of things. You've got this guy, what's his name? Timothy Chalamet. I don't know who he is. But he's saying that he thinks society is collapsing. You've got Mark Ruffalo saying he doesn't know if he's going to be able to do these jobs in the future because of what's happening. And I kind of just feel like everyone agrees, be it the cultural or political space, everything's coming into a singularity of collapse. And so with everything we're doing, we're going to keep doing it. But I really, after seeing what Joe Biden said yesterday, as much as I think they are losing, no joke, it makes me feel like we're on the precipice. You know, some people were mentioning that Joe Biden gave a speech and then 3 months later there was some insane, like he gives a speech to prime people for what's about to happen and then some bad thing happens. I'll put it that way, you know, with Afghanistan or whatever. And now Joe Biden comes out and gives a speech to justify the looming indictment of Donald Trump. Yeah, the political stuff, it's just taken everything over. Today, every single story is about Biden's civil war conflict. I'm not kidding. I know there's some stuff about Meghan Markle or whatever, but they can't tell you the story without framing it in the context of Joe Rogan and Joe Rogan saying vote Republican. Everything from culture to politics is slamming into each other. And the end result is going to be an implosion. So maybe the best thing we can do is invest in these cultural shows and ideas. Become a member at timcast.com if you want to support our work. Because maybe when the wreckage, when all the rubble falls, there needs to be something that people can turn to. But it's so much more than just our words. It's the supply chain. It's quarantines in China. World War III. Maybe this is it. It's the climax. It's the maelstrom. It's everything spiraling into that singular point. I guess what I should say is when you can't even watch some garbage TV show without them beating you in the face with some stupid political message, that's it. Everything is political and politics is devolving into chaos, and it will bring everyone down with it. So maybe the smartest investment we can make is launching culture. You know, I really do feel like the smartest investment at this point, considering what Biden said, is like buying those big cargo bins, shipping containers, there you go, and burying them and creating a sustainable living situation in that capacity, or raising them above the ground, because it seems like it's about to get bonkers in this country. Probably, if this were any other country or any other period, people would have would have already been fleeing. Maybe that's a good idea for personal safety. But maybe the reality is, with watching how awful all of this culture is, the night is always darkest before the dawn. Biden and the establishment may go nuts, but the end result will likely be the victory for freedom and liberty. And if that's the case, there needs to be something there for people to gather around and to share. And maybe that's why, despite the fact that the end may be nigh, I'm not the only one who thinks it, it is a good investment to push back on this garbage and to make something new and different. And it won't be perfect, but at least it won't be whatever this is. We did a video with Marjorie Taylor Greene. It was funny. Marjorie Taylor Greene, known as MTG, played Magic the Gathering, also known as MTG, and MTG plays MTG. We had Ian Crossland doing a training. You check it out. Cast Castle. Is it the best thing in the world? No. But maybe we just need to start doing stuff, investing in it, because it's all coming crashing down. It's all coming crashing down. Is that what it is? It's all crashing down. There. That's a better way to put it. And when it does, there's got to be something, I guess. I don't know, man. I'll level with you guys. I'm looking at all the news. Every single story is civil war. I'm not kidding. Some element of it. And I'm like, what am I supposed to, how do I break this up into two different segments? You know, I do my 1 p.m., I do my 4 p.m., and I'm like, well, there's the cultural element, I suppose, which can be separate, because I'm not going to talk about this when talking about politics, so it is what it is, man. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. over at youtube.com/Timcast. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.